is Jesus. She ain't pulling out the ordinary stuff because he's somebody. The excellence, right? If work us unto the Lord. She done quote all the Bible verses that we talk about, give God your best and all of that. That's what she was doing. That's her attitude. But while this is going on, she hot. She in the kitchen steaming. And for her to dress Jesus like that, I'm like, girl, please. Had I been in that house, I'd be like, oh, lightning surely coming. I'm just waiting on it. How dare her talk to Jesus like that? Her problem is not that she wasn't devoted. She was just distracted with all of the preparations. I know I get distracted with all of the preparations. There's no way. Sister Portia, what was the final count for Thursday? I'm sorry? 1375. There's no way that Lowry could have served 1375. 1,375 meals with some left over had it not been for the organization and people taking care of all of the little things. People have been carving turkeys and putting stuff together for 2 weeks, making sure all of the details are together. Now, y'all think the Thanksgiving feed would be even remotely successful if people would come in and y'all just threw something on the plate and just said, here, get out the door? No. Y'all got stations set up. This thing is well organized. Somebody said, can you smell the oil? I said, smell the oil? What you talking about? From this well-running machine. Sometimes our to-do list and the things that we think we have to do cause us to lose or miss out on valuable time with Jesus Christ. Our desire to serve him and to serve him well. And it's not bad. It is a good thing. But it should never take the place of time with him. And so she goes, Jesus, don't you care that she ain't helping me? And she gave him some instructions. Tell her to come help me. Ladies, I'm going to tell y'all something. If you married, been married, had plans to get married, don't do that to us. Come on, fellas, help me out. I put y'all on blast a few minutes ago. Don't nothing make us madder than a woman telling us what to do. That's fingernails on the chalkboard for us when y'all tell us, and y'all good at it too. Turn here, turn there, park here. You're going too fast, slow down. Y'all always telling us what to do. And we be wanting to go, you want to drive? I'm not going to drive. If you want to drive, come on over. I'll pull over. Stop telling us what to do. But to tell Jesus what to do is a whole nother level. And he didn't respond like we would respond. Because Jesus would never tell her, look, you want to do the kitchen? Then go ahead and you do the kitchen. You want to die? Go ahead and die. You can do the cross thing because I don't want to do the cross thing. He didn't do that to her. He did not do that to her. Because he ain't like us. Aren't y'all glad, ladies, that Jesus is not like your husband? I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going back up here. We have to be careful of fighting the tyranny of the urgent. We have to really pay attention to those things that are urgent versus those things that are important. Some things are important, some things are urgent. Those things that are important really need to be done. Sometimes those things that are urgent, they can wait. Because normally the urgency is created by somebody else. It's urgent for them, but it ain't urgent for me. And your lack of planning don't create urgency on my part. My daddy would say people would call, this was long before cell phones and answering machines. If it's important, they will call back. People will call back if it's important. If it's urgent, they'll call somebody else. We have to be careful that we don't become distracted with the stuff of life that really, in the long run, is really not that important. So how does Jesus respond? We got to be devoted And we got to make sure that there is time in our day, in our calendar, that is set aside strictly for Jesus Christ. Not just to offer up prayers, but to allow Jesus to speak to our hearts about those things that we have been praying about, those things that we've been stressing about, those things that have keeping us up at night. Be devoted. Focus. Don't lose your focus. But the last thing is you got to make a good decision or a great decision. Let's go to the last part. This is Jesus' response. And Jesus answered and said to her, in verse 41, Martha, 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 Martha. It wasn't like, Martha, Martha. It was Martha, dear Martha. So much love, so much compassion, so much understanding in his voice. He says, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things. How many of y'all sitting here today, you worried and troubled about many things? How many times have you knelt to pray or sat to pray or stood to pray, and you think you've been praying for a long time, but you only been praying about 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and your mind go off to about the stuff that you got to do? Your to-do list kick in. I got to call this person. I got to email this person. I got to run to the store. Oh, I need some milk. I need some eggs. Oh, this got to be done. We're troubled and worried about so many things. He said, Martha, you are worried about the tablecloth being ironed. You're worried about the silverware being polished. You're worried about the turkey being cooked to perfection. You don't want to burn the yams. You don't want to burn the roast. You want to make sure that the lemonade is just right. It's cold enough. It's sweet enough. You are worried about all of these things. All of these things. When only one thing was necessary. Martha, I appreciate your love and your attempts to serve me and to serve me well. And I need it and I appreciate it. But a ham sandwich would have been fine. No, not a ham sandwich. Couldn't eat pork. Turkey sandwich would have been fine. Sometimes we are worried and troubled about all of these things that shouldn't worry us when there's just one thing that is necessary. Only one thing was necessary. And she missed it. Here's the great decision. He said, one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen the good part. You decided to serve me well. Mary decided to sit well. If you have to choose between serving Christ or sitting with Christ, sit with him. Matter of fact, in the sitting, he'll tell you what you ought to do. And how you ought to do it, and when you ought to do it, and who you ought to do it with, or if you should be doing it at all. When it comes down to making the choice of serving or sitting, sit first. It is in the sitting that we get our instructions so that we don't become stressed. But he says something else, that Mary has chosen the good part. What is the good part? That's the question. What is the good part? That word part means portion or inheritance. Mary has chosen the good part. Mary has chosen the portion. Jesus is my portion. Mary chose Jesus over serving. Mary chose that which was far more important. And he said, that ain't going to be taken away. Mary has chosen to be with me, to love me, and I can love her, and that will never be taken away from us if you and I will choose that well. Choose the good part. Always take Jesus over the opportunities to serve. There will always be opportunities for us to serve. The opportunities to give back and to serve are endless, and they will continue to grow as this world continues to spin further and further out of control, as things get harder and more challenging and more difficult in life and financially, it is going to grow. But you and I have to be careful that we guard that time with Jesus Christ. You know what's the worst thing? Is for us to be serving with a terrible attitude. Ain't nothing worse than have somebody lay out a full course meal that's scrumptious. The food is so good, you wiggling your toes inside your shoes and socks. But they mean-spirited while they serving it. The food just don't taste as good. It just don't taste as good. It's lacking something. Now, I guarantee you this. On Thursday, I don't care if people came in to eat, if the plates was taken to them, if they got them on the side of the road, if they sold them. Every dish, every plate that left this building had some love in it because it was prayed over, because people had dedicated their lives to Jesus Christ. They going, is that oregano? I don't know what that taste is, but it tastes good. It's love. That's what they was tasting. Choose the good part. You and I were created for a love relationship with Jesus Christ. And if he took a measurement and he could measure how full or how empty we are, what would the reading be on your life? I know we love each other, and it's natural, it's organic to come here. But if Jesus really cut us open and looked on the inside, what would he find in us? Have we chosen the good part? I want to encourage you all. I want to encourage me that this year, these next 5-6 weeks, as these holidays, these Christmas parties, these luncheons, and all of this stuff comes up, and we can't say no to these things, and you're trying to figure out your work schedule and your family schedule, and don't let company come over. You got to clean the house. You got to cook food and all of that stuff that y'all know what I'm talking about. It happens. It happened at my house. It happened at your house. And sometimes we get frustrated. We get tired. Choose the good part. Guess what? Y'all might get some cereal, some cornflakes, and Captain Crunch at my house on Christmas morning. Because we didn't get up extra early to cook for y'all. But we got up extra early to pray for you all before you got here. Let's make sure that we don't become too stressed to be blessed, but because we have been devoted to Jesus Christ, that we are far too blessed to be stressed because we have served not from the contents of our cup, but because we have served from the overflow of our cup. Let's give folks the overflow of our cup, because everything in the cup is for us. It is not for them. And if you serve from an empty cup or a cup that's half full, if it's half full, it will be empty shortly. And that's when the real you, the real me come out. That's when we become short-tempered and we say things that we can't take back. God wants to be glorified in our activities, in our serving this year. God wants to give us the supernatural energy to go through all of these things that we have to go through. That there's not the fake smiles, but there's genuine love and concern and care in our hearts. And the only way to do that is to really have a relationship with him. A relationship with him that is deep and abiding and thriving and growing. And that is because, or it happens because, of the time that we spend with him. You can't experience the true joy of Christmas without Christ. You can't really overcome the stresses of Christmas without Christ. You can't really serve with love and compassion and understanding without Christ. And so as our officers come, we want to give you an opportunity to have the best Christmas of your entire life. It's not the gift that will be under the tree. It's the gift that was hung on a tree. It is the gift that Jesus laid down his life for you. If you've never surrendered your life to Jesus Christ, you've never invited him into your life, we want to give you an opportunity to do that at this